Hello and welcome to Unprofessional Engineering. My name is James.
And you got Luke.
This week we are looking at How It's Made Christmas Toys Edition, Part 1.
So we think we might have more than...
You know, there's a lot of toys out there.
I feel like we picked like the 4 best. like as I was thinking about the toys, I don't know if there's too many other like super interesting mechanically.
I think we might be able to find maybe 4 more.
You
so
think?
maybe this will be a 2-part series.
Maybe we could do some write-ins. We could get some folks to send in.
Oh, yeah. If you have a great toy you want us to investigate after this episode, write in and we'll do that for our next How It's Made episode.
Nice.
That's a great idea, Luke. That's why you're the brains here.
I was just thinking that.
All right, so the first toy we're going to be looking at today is one of my favorites, Play-Doh. Did you play with Play-Doh as a kid? Was that before your time?
Oh, no. I was definitely playing with Play-Doh. The spaghetti machine was my favorite.
The spaghetti machine is pretty cool.
No, I'll wait till the end. When you're done
Okay,
with Play-Doh
let's wait till the end. All right, so a little bit of history, and I'm going to be very brief on the history of Play-Doh because if you remember, it was covered in our top 10 engineering toys of all time.
We did?
And
I don't remember.
And we went into great detail. Well, it was one of them that I did, so we went into great detail on it.
Of course, because you're a history buff.
I am a history buff. But anyways, quickly, it was created in the 1930s in Cincinnati, Ohio.
I remember now.
As a wallpaper cleaner, which seems ridiculous to me, by Noah McVicker. And his nephew Joey, that's what I call him,
Good
we're
old
tight,
Joey.
shipped some to the local schools in about 1956.
To clean the wallpaper?
No, because the teachers found out that they can model with it.
Okay.
And they were like, this stuff's awesome! And the next thing you know, it was everywhere, and it was no longer a gross, useless wallpaper cleaner.
Okay.
And I say useless because, I mean, like, do you even have wallpaper in your house?
My old house did have wallpaper, and I removed it promptly.
Yes. Okay, that's why I say it's useless.
Okay.
But, yeah, anyways, now it sparkles, now it glows, it can be made into food shapes, like you were saying, the spaghetti maker, so they have all those things that go along with it. And it's in the Toy Hall of Fame and made the Century of Toys list in 2003.
Mine is also in the
What
Toy
a
Hall of
great
Fame.
honor, huh?
Well, it's a
Great honor.
How hard is it to really get into the National Toy Hall of Fame?
I really have no idea. I have never created a toy that's made it, so
Okay.
that's something. So ingredients.
It's got to be simple, right?
You know, I don't know. Sort of. It's pretty easy.
Okay.
But I feel like a lot more goes into it than I would have expected. First off, flour and water. Because it turns out dough is cheaper than foams and clays and silicone. So in '65, the patent called for hard winter wheat, which is high in bindy, springy gluten. So now it gives it that like formable shape and like can bounce back into shape.
So like
then.
gluten-free. So if your kid's gluten-free, he can't eat Play-Doh.
He probably doesn't want to eat Play-Doh.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean gluten-free, right? Salt, about 10% salt. Binds up extra water, preventing enzymes from turning into starches.
That's why it tastes so
and
good.
turns it in, doesn't, therefore it's not like a sugary mess, basically. So that's cool.
Okay.
I don't know how to say this. Amylopectin to prevent retrogradation.
So deterioration.
Yeah.
Does that sound? Yeah.
It keeps it pliable.
Okay.
Yep. It keeps the starch molecules from attaching to themselves. So that's kind of cool.
Okay.
Oil, so mineral or vegetable. It keeps the dough moist and counteracts stickiness.
Okay.
Aluminum sulfate. See, they just keep adding these things. Aluminum sulfate.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a stiffener for the wheat gluten.
That's why you don't want to eat it.
And
now.
it is, and it provides the bitter taste so that most people won't eat it. You've had Play-Doh before.
Oh, I've had a lot of Play-Doh.
Yeah, I had Play-Doh. I mean,
Lots.
it's not that bad.
I kind of was a connoisseur of Play-Doh back in the day.
What color was your favorite?
Blue.
Oh, very good. Borax prevents bacteria growth. Seems important.
Yeah, a lot of kids touching it. Yeah.
Fun fact, though, it's banned in the U.S. as a food additive now.
Borax
But,
is?
yes, but it is used in Iran to preserve caviar. I thought that was interesting.
That's a very strange fact for our...
PEG 1500 monocerate. A 2004 patent suggests it can be used similar to oil.
Okay.
Then you drop color in, like food coloring, something like that. Back in '56, when it was a wallpaper cleaner, it only came in off-white. But then they became red, blue, and yellow the next year. And now there's over 43 non-toxic colors that you can choose from.
So Play-Doh is non-toxic.
It is non-toxic, yes.
Even
yes,
with
you
the
can eat
aluminum
it.
and the borax.
Yeah, it's good enough.
Okay.
You can also combine them together to make your own colors, which never works. It's always lumpy
no.
and gross and
Never.
disgusting. And then the most interesting thing, fragrance. Hasbro's patent says vanilla is used, but it's believed that that was just thrown in there to throw people off, so that they're
Really?
trying to recreate it. They throw in vanilla and they're like, "Mwahaha, that's not it at all."
Play-Doh does have a very unusual smell.
It does, but it's a very closely guarded secret, but they suspect that it comes from the flowers of the heliotrope, aka the cherry pie tree.
Okay.
Cherry pie plant, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, real quickly, how it's made. You add the mixture together in very exact amounts, but roughly 70% dry ingredients, 30% water.
Okay.
The mixing time, at least for certain brands, has to be 3 minutes and 20 seconds precisely, and it comes out
wow.
like a pie dough around 70 degrees C after all the churning and
Okay.
mixing it together. It goes into a stuffer, a big machine that cuts it into container-shaped cylinders and then blops it into the containers. And then the lids are automatically placed on the plastic containers and pressed down to seal them shut. And then they slap stickers on them, and they run through an X-ray machine to make sure that no metal shavings from the machines have accidentally
Because they
gone
know
in
how many
there.
kids eat Play-Doh.
And if you're interested in how an X-ray machine works, you can check out our medical imaging episode.
Is this going to be one of those episodes
We're
where
at 2 so far, so we'll see.
I feel like we need like a ding, 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 ding.
I know,
every
we do
time you
need like
do
a
that.
sound. All right, so that's it for Play-Doh. Pretty cool stuff, huh?
Very cool.
You can go online, check out some cool videos on how it's made. Spend 5 minutes of your life. You just spent 6 minutes of it listening to me. Go watch the video.
So mine is crayons.
Crayons.
Oh my goodness.
Not crayons? Crayola crayons?
I could be wrong because I watched a video and one of the executives at Crayola called it, what do you say?
Crayon.
I think he calls it a crayon. I've always called it a crayon.
A crayon. Like there's a hyphen in there.
Like crayon. Like, okay, regardless. And you're wrong. I'm right.
Irregardlessly.
Irregardlessly. So it was invented in 1903 by Edwin Binney and his cousin Harold Smith. So
Binney.
Before it was called Crayola, that's the name of the company, it was Bittney and Smith was the name.
Oh, Bittney, not Binney.
Binney. I'm sorry, Binney. I threw a T in there. Binney and Smith. They actually made wax markers for marking shipping containers is where it started. And then they realized that they could turn these into non-toxic versions for kids.
Okay.
So this was in New York City. So the original company goes all the way back to 1885. This was, they made
pretty
like,
old.
yeah, really old. So they did like industrial marking, that sort of stuff. And then they got into obviously the wax crayons. The interesting thing is the name for crayons or Crayola. This is actually invented by one of the wives. They used a French word I can't pronounce, and then the ons. So it's actually a French word, and then the Crayola, the name of the company, is actually a French word for marker. And then she just added the end of it to the name. So the Crayola name actually came from one of the founders' wives.
Behind every great man, there's a, even better woman, even greater woman? That's what we're going to go with.
I think the fact that you're a newlywed, you kind of have to say that now.
Yes.
And I obviously love my wife, so of course. So
Obviously.
primarily made out of paraffin wax. So do you ever do that thing where you dip your hands in the hot wax?
Nope.
It's that same type of wax. Makes your hands super soft.
I've never
But it's
done that.
Primarily paraffin, and they add all types of additives because it's a molded process that actually makes the crayons. And there's actually multiple, I think there was, depending on who the manufacturer is, there's up to like 22 different additives on top of paraffin. So between the colorants, between the chemicals that stop it from sticking to the mold, that sort of stuff. So the process that these go through to be made. So first of all, paraffin wax is heated up. They add the tint. They add all of the different additives that allow this to be ejected from the mold. It gets poured into a water-cooled mold. So imagine like hundreds.
Water-cooled mold.
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
So it takes
Into like little cylinders, right? They
So
dump it into
basically,
crayon shapes.
they
Crayon
just pour
shapes.
it crayon shapes. Very
Right,
good.
I'm practicing.
And there's literally like thousands of holes, so they do one color at a time. They pour it all in. It takes 60 seconds to cycle through from being the liquid paraffin to being cooled to the crayons that you and I see every day. They scrape the top off. They eject them. Then they go in. Then the system that makes these is pretty impressive. It's 100% automated. They automatically add the wrappers. They automatically sort them. Then they go into bins with all the different colors, all the way up to 120 different colors for Crayola brand. And then
I thought they have 128 at least, right?
It said 120 different
I
colors.
thought the
in my
big
research.
box had, I don't know. I haven't really
So
played with
sometimes
crayons in a while.
they give you multiple blacks, they give you multiple whites.
the
They
ones you
so
use a
certain
lot.
colors you use a lot, you get multiple versions. Like you don't just
Okay.
get one black
Okay.
crayon, one white crayon.
Okay.
So that's why you get more than 120 in the big box. So they're wrapped, they're sorted, all 100% automated. The coolest thing about this was the video that I watched on how to make. Guess who it was? Mr. Rogers.
Oh, really?
It was an
Good old Fred.
It was a very old Mr. Rogers. It was actually a Crayola Crayon Factory version where he walked through with his Mr. Rogers voice, showing you the exact process, how they're made.
Yeah.
So now is the Q&A that I have for you.
I did just Google it, and you're right, 120 count box. So good job. Okay.
Did you doubt me?
Yes, I've talked to you before, and we've done a lot of these episodes. So yes, I did doubt.
Okay,
you.
so
Go ahead, Q&A.
Where are 80% of all the crayons made in the world?
Uzbekistan. No.
Easton, PA.
Oh, Easton, PA.
Crayola is actually in Easton, PA.
Okay.
And
I think
that's
maybe
where
we covered this before.
I think we did
Or
too.
one of our toys was invented there.
Guess how many crayons they make a year?
7 billion.
Actually, 3 billion.
Not bad.
That's for, I mean,
For a guess.
for a guess, 4 billion off.
Okay.
So it's 80% of the world's supply.
It's what?
80% of the world's
Is
supply
made there.
is made in one location.
Wow.
In East. I would have thought that there were like factories everywhere.
That's probably big, or it was, on like the Cold War list or something. Like, man, we're going to knock out their crayon supply.
Production.
Yeah.
So if you took 1 year's worth of crayons and laid them end to end, how many times did it go around the Earth?
Oh, boy, I don't know. Let's go with 19.
6.
Oh, that's pretty good.
That's pretty impressive. How many name requests have been made over the years?
Oh,
They used to do names based off of the color book, like official colors.
Right, now they come up
and
with fun
now
ones.
they allow people to submit colors. How many names have been
12.6 million.
2 million. You were way off on the
Well.
guesses. And what 3 languages are on the crayon?
English, Spanish, and German.
French.
Frenchie's always getting me.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
yeah,
I like that. That was fun.
And the interesting thing about crayons, and this is if you're ever doing Q&A with friends, and this is always, our show's always good to watch for making bets with your
Absolutely.
friends. How many?
Because our numbers
Exactly.
are always so accurate.
Exactly. How many different box variations do they have? So they got the big box, but what do the variations go down to? Like, what's the smallest and
Isn't
what's the
8
largest?
the smallest? No, they're smaller. They have
4.
4.
You can-
That doesn't count. That's like if you go to a restaurant or something.
Yeah, and they give you the free ones.
Yeah, so you got 4, you got 8. There's 16. Is there a 12 pack?
There's a 12, there's a 16, there's a
24?
32,
No?
there's a
Okay.
24, there's a 64, a
There's the
120.
120. Okay. Well,
I
there
think
we
there's
go.
like 8 different variations of the boxes.
Yeah.
Were you a crayon?
Yeah, I was pretty good at coloring. I had my trouble staying in the lines, but
Yeah.
other than that.
So this year for Halloween, my daughter and I did this Halloween thing where we took crayons and we glued it to a pumpkin.
Okay.
And then I took my heat gun
Oh,
and I melted the
neat.
crayons and it went down on the pumpkin.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I bet it was. You didn't send me a picture of
Because
it.
what do you do with a crayon that's this big? After it breaks, they
Melt
just
it
end
down,
You
yeah.
step on them, they end up getting in the laundry.
Right.
So a good craft for the kids.
Well done. I'm impressed. All right. Is that it for crayons?
It is good for crayons.
All right. So
or
I will
crayons.
exact my revenge. Extract? No. Exact my
Exact your
revenge on you with my next toy. But before we do that,
Okay.
I'm going to take a break for a word from our sponsor. We do not have a sponsor, so don't bother asking.
Surprises me.
I know,
It
it really
really
does,
does.
because we're really picking up steam. But I will say, email us at unprofessionalengineering@gmail.com with any toys you want us to investigate, or just to say hi, or if you subscribe, we will be happy to send you some stickers, because that's what we do.
Yeah.
So subscribe on iTunes or wherever it is you listen, send it to us, or ping us on Facebook or whatever, and we will send you some stickers. I did want to give a shout out to our large bearded Canadian friend.
Oh, yeah.
He reached out to us on
Saw
Facebook.
that.
So that's that. And then I did want to give you a short story.
Okay.
My friend back home, who's a big time listener, was
course.
like, hey, so yeah, I was listening to you, and I think he was up to Alexander Graham Bell, was
Okay.
the last episode he listened to. He's like, man, you talk a lot. And I was like, oh, thanks. And he's like, he's known me forever, though. So
Okay.
he's like, so, that's not new. And then the best part was, he says, does Luke even read his notes before he goes in? And I'm like, you know what? I'm not sure. Because he saw us and he sees you like flipping through on your screen. And I was like, yeah, well, maybe that's when he's doing his research. I don't
but
know.
what people don't see is you have notes, but you just print them out and put
I do print them
on-
out.
So you're doing the same thing I'm doing.
I guess so.
I'm just not as wasteful with paper.
Well, carbon footprint.
I'm more concerned about my
Carbon footprint.
carbon
That's
footprint.
the one. Okay.
Yeah. Like
Well.
every week, you print out at least 3 or 4 pieces of paper, and I don't
I know
print
that I
anything.
typed out. All right. Anyways, let's move on. So email us, unprofessionalengineering@gmail.com. Subscribe. Oh, and write a review. I
Yeah.
always forget that.
We need
Go write our
reviews.
reviews. We need more. So moving on, my favorite toy of all time, of course, and the one we said wasn't even fair to have on the top engineering
forget
toys
what we
list
said. What did we
was
say?
Lego,
Oh, yeah.
which is amazing. So I'm going to give a little history on it because it's kind of interesting, I thought. Let's see. Founded in 1932 by Ole Kirk Christensen.
Yep.
How did you know that? What do you mean, yup? Like you knew this?
Yeah.
Okay, and now operated by a grandchild. Started in a small carpenter's workshop making wooden parts. Did you know that?
I did not.
You didn't.
I know none of this.
Oh, you were just saying that.
I was pretending.
Okay, that was well done then. The brick is, in its present shape, was launched in 1958. So that's pretty impressive. It's
Yeah.
stuck around for what, 60 years almost
That's
now?
impressive.
Yeah. In 35, they made the first wooden duck. That was their first product, was a wooden duck.
Okay.
In 39, they had 10 whole employees. In 43, they were up to 40, still making wooden ducks. 46, they bought an injection molding machine
Ooh.
for plastic toy production. In 49, they were making 200 different wooden and plastic toys, including the automatic binding blocks, sold only in Denmark, the forerunner to Lego bricks. So I feel like they came up with a better name. Automatic binding block wasn't
Yeah.
really very catchy.
No, not at all. What do you want for Christmas, honey? I want automatic binding blocks.
Yeah. In 53, they renamed it.
Good.
I liked that voice. That was good.
Sorry.
In 55, they started exporting to other countries, specifically Sweden. But that's kind of like me exporting across Pittsburgh,
Yeah,
right?
'cause, like,
I
yeah,
mean, they're
isn't-
like neighbors or
yeah,
something.
pretty
That's not
much.
very far. In the same time frame, they had 28 sets and 8 vehicles. In 1960, they were up to 450 employees. Legoland opened in 1968, attracting 625,000 visitors the first season. And shortly after, they were up to about 1,000 employees. And the little spaceman came out in the 70s as well. You know the spaceman who always has the broken thing, just like all of mine do? Love those guys. Now they're over 18,000 employees, over 70 nations. And last year was their strongest year yet, up 66% in sales, making 4.4 billion squiggles. I think that's the euro or the
yen.
the pound.
No.
The pound.
Is it the pound or the
I think
the
it was the
euro?
pound. No, the euro's like an E looking
Okay,
thing. This was
okay.
like a squiggle. So I think it's pound
They've
or
done
something.
some amazing
Whatever they use.
marketing and joining up with like the Batman
Oh,
Lego
man, it's
movies
been
and
unreal, right?
Ninjago. I mean,
Yeah.
I would bet that a good portion of that money they're talking about isn't the sale of like a plastic Lego
the
kit.
movies
Yeah,
and
it's gotta
everything.
be.
Oh yeah, they do a good job.
Yeah.
Okay, so how it's made. First off, it's been voted Toy of the Century 2 times. So I assume that must have been last century and the current century.
How do you do
I
that?
I don't really
Okay.
know, but okay. Lego parts start off as tiny plastic granules, and I guess we're pretty familiar with the
Yep.
process.
Oh, I am.
In a factory in Denmark, because that's
Only
where
in
it is.
Denmark?
That's where they're from, yeah. With 14 giant silos of colors holding 33 tons of plastic
Whoa.
bits. Yeah.
That's a lot.
They, like their friends, the Duplo, you know Duplos?
Yeah.
Those are like stupid Legos. Or maybe they're for kids, like really young, are created out of ABS plastic.
Okay.
There are over 1,000 injection molding machines making parts 24/7 in this factory. And there's basically no human interference
I think
with
I
this.
saw,
It's
like,
almost
an-
completely automatic.
I saw an aerial picture of the plant one time, and it was literally like just machine,
Oh, it's
machine
nuts.
as far
I
as the
just
eye
watched a
could see.
video on it. Oh
pretty
my
impressive.
goodness, yeah. So the bits are melted at about 232 C, and they shape them in the little injection molder. They drop them, well they cool, they drop them, and if you've never seen an injection molding machine, go check it out, it's pretty cool. And they put them into containers, and then a robot comes over, picks them up, and kind of like shoots them on their way, and it puts
Okay.
them into like a storage facility, and then another robot sorts them, I'm guessing based on the shape of the box or something,
Yeah.
and then moves them onto the proper shelf in the storage unit. So it's basically all automated, which is pretty amazing. They make, I guess, well, I'll get into some guessing games with you later on,
Okay.
but they make, in 2015, they were making 1.7 million bricks an hour, or 15 billion a year.
That's ridiculous.
Now I see that it's over 19 billion a year at this point, which is
That's
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah. Let's see. Robot storage area. Oh, the head machine. You know the little guy
makes the
heads?
heads?
They shoot out 15,000 heads an hour. And then to give them a face, they have like a little rubber stamper. So they have like the
and
normal
it gets
happy
rolled on.
smiley
Yeah, yeah.
guy or the angry faced angry guy. And then now they have like pirates and superheroes and all those other faces that they
So
can
they're
put on
all
there as
made
well.
in one location? I didn't
That's
realize
my
that.
understanding is
Wow.
that, or at least that's the primary one.
Okay, okay.
And then another cool machine manually puts the figures together, and when the bodies are coming through, if they're backwards or wrong, they'll shoot them out with like pressurized air, and they'll come back through until they're facing the right direction.
That's
So
pretty
that's
cool.
pretty neat. Yeah. So some fun facts. You ready for some guessing games?
Yes.
All right. With just 6 regular bricks, there are how many combinations?
6 regular bricks. 12,000.
900 million.
Give or take.
you were close.
I was close.
How many full-time designers do they have creating sculptures for Legoland?
Oh, wow. Sculptures? I'm going to say 27.
120 full-time designers. Yeah. How many bricks have been sold worldwide?
2 trillion.
200 billion. This, I won't have you guess this. The word Lego comes from the Danish phrase "legot," which means
yeah, I was going to
play
say that.
well.
I was going to say Legot.
Yeah, I bet you were. The average Lego brick can support how much weight?
Oh, the average 120 pounds.
950 pounds.
They were engineered pretty well.
They are. They're sturdy. That means you could build a tower how high before the bottom brick would collapse?
7 stories.
2 miles high before the bottom brick would collapse.
I've been close on all of these, James.
Yeah, well, that was good.
Yeah.
All right, so that's basically it for Legos. That's everything anyone would ever want to know, I think, give or take.
Well, yeah. I mean, basic. You've hit the highlights of the Legos.
I think so.
So here's a couple things I don't like about Legos before we leave.
There's
Legos.
nothing not to like about them, other than that they've really shifted to like the bases being really
Yeah.
one big solid part. I don't like that.
The thing I don't like is, like when I had Legos as a kid, I had a giant tub about this big.
Oh, and you did it on your own. You didn't do
And
instructions.
it was just like 15 different
stupid.
colors, and they
I
were all
hate you.
squares or thin ones or long. And now everything you buy is a kit, and if you miss like one piece, you can never put that thing together ever again.
You're the worst. The way you use Legos and play with them is you get them in a kit and you follow the instructions and put them
Yeah.
together the right way.
Yeah.
That's how you
And
do
then
it.
what if you want to put them together
No,
again?
that's the you don't. You leave them put together in your mom's attic like mine are. because that's how you play with them, Luke.
Do you Craggle yours?
I don't even know what that. Oh no, the glue.
Yeah,
no.
the Lego
no.
movie. You don't Craggle them?
No.
Okay.
Come on, because there
Okay.
is a small chance that I'll tear them apart. Wait, what Lego sets did you like, or what did you play with? Were you? They had like towns. See, I was castles and Robin Hood
I
stuff
I
mostly.
never did kits ever. I was
goodness.
pre-kits, but what I've done now with my daughter is we've done the Lego architecture stuff.
I have some of those
It
as
is
well.
Awesome.
Yes.
I got Frank
like
Lloyd
those.
Wright. I got the Eiffel Tower. I got another one that I just got last Christmas that I haven't put together yet. I think it's the Guggenheim. I haven't put it together
I like
yet.
that word, Guggenheim.
And then the one I want to get, but it's like $7,000. Did you see the Millennium Falcon one?
Oh my goodness.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Okay.
All right, moving on.
Horrible inventions, James. Are you
Oh
ready?
yeah, let's hear it.
And we're
Horrible
going to keep this
inventions.
toy themed. And why this was ever, and this is an obvious one, so my guess is everybody's going to be like, oh, it's too easy. But I have to say it. Lawn darts.
Lawn darts.
So,
who hasn't had a good time with those?
I know. So let's take, and I'm talking the original lawn darts
Oh,
with
yeah.
the pointy end.
The metal, heavy,
Yeah. So
impaling people
let's
ones.
take our children and let's put 3 or 4 on one side and 3 or 4 20 feet away and have them stand near a circle and throw arrows at each other really high in the air, trying to, and then you stand right by the circle. Like, why that was ever a good idea, I don't know.
I feel like maybe that's a survival of the fittest kind of thing. Maybe someone was like weeding out the kids that
think
aren't
so?
good at sports.
Like the dumb kids would stand right next to the circle.
I got it. I got it.
Yeah, I just don't know why that would ever be a good idea.
Funny thing, I used to play with those when I was a kid at my uncle's house. He always had a family picnic in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Though I realized once he had children, they were no longer something we played with.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's interesting.
Now they've moved. Now kids nowadays, they're all a bunch of sissies.
Yeah.
They still have lawn darts.
They do it on their
but-
phone probably.
No, it's a lawn dart, but it's like
It's like foam.
It's like foam, or there's like a sandbag on the end or something. So like the worst thing they're gonna do is like get a black and blue mark. No
Back in
puncture
my
wins.
day, you didn't win until you punctured someone. All right, that is a terrible
Yeah,
invention.
it's terrible, terrible. Okay, moving on. My last one, and I
Okay.
think this is the last one of our
It
show
is, it
today.
is.
This was a favorite of mine. This
Ooh.
was the Etch-a-sketch.
I spent a lot of time on the Etch-a-sketch.
Yeah, and
I'm no good at art, so none of my designs or
Yeah,
pictures
and-
look good.
I had no idea, even up until I started doing my research for this, what actually went on inside of an Etch-a-sketch. I mean, I had an idea what went on inside of an Etch-a-sketch, but just wasn't 100% sure of what was going on in there.
I assume there's a gnome or perhaps a mouse pushing that thing around. Is that not right?
Close.
Close, okay,
Really,
good.
really close. So this was invented in the late 1950s by Andre Casanga.
I think that's right.
It's a
yeah.
G, but I think you say it as a Y because he was French.
Man, do they say things strange.
Yeah, so the G, so Casania, Andre Casania, we'll
Okay.
say, in late 50s. So in 1959, he took it to the International Toy Fair in Nuremberg, Germany. And basically, I don't think he had the actual device. He had his patent drawings and some like basic prototypes, but nobody paid attention, right?
Why would they? Like, what's interesting about that? Like,
Well, yeah.
look, you draw. Oh, great.
So then, a year later, a company called Ohio Arts, and if you remember, Ohio Arts used to be on the Etch-a-sketch in the upper left-hand corner. There was a globe, and it said Ohio Arts on it.
I remember.
So that's what they've looked like for years. They saw it, they wanted to take a chance. It used to be called like the Magic Screen. They changed it and rebranded it to Etch-a-sketch, and it was released in 1960 and was the biggest toy ever that year. And it's had, subsequent, really good peaks that have corresponded with which movies, James? Like, when have sales increased for Etch-a-sketches? This is a really open-ended question.
Yeah, I don't know.
So they were really falling on hard times, and they got a 12-second spot in the first Toy Story movie where they showed an Etch-a-sketch being used.
And that convinced people to buy them again?
And kids that didn't know what Etch-a-sketches were, that saw Toy Story, were like, "Mom, Dad, what is this?" Because that was all based off of real toys, right? And then, so they had
Honestly,
to ramp it up.
out of all the toys in Toy Story, they were like, ooh, Etch-a-sketch, neat.
Well, it worked. and then it worked again for Toy Story 2, and then again for Elf. Remember?
Oh, that would have been a good choice.
That's how I thought Etch-a-sketches were made. You pour sand, you close a box, you hit it with a magic hammer four times, and you have an Etch-a-sketch. Apparently, that's not how it's made.
Interesting.
In 2016, it was sold to some Canadian company. I checked out their website. It's the worst website ever.
Ever?
Not ever, but
it's up there.
You would think like a toy website for kids would be like the most amazing toy website ever, and it's called like Spin Super or Super Spin is the name, and they got all. It's a bunch of toys, but just a horrible website.
Huh.
So their marketing folks need to work on a better website.
Hey, if you're looking for marketing folks, Etch-a-sketch people, you know where to find them.
So let's get into the mechanical aspect of this. So an Etch-a-sketch is basically a 2D mechanical plotter. That's all it is. So
it is. That's accurate.
It is. Do you know what a 2D mechanical plotter is?
I do. Yes.
Okay. So what it is a piece of glass, and on the inside of the case they put aluminum powder and polystyrene beads, really, really small polystyrene beads. So what happens with the aluminum and the polystyrene, when you draw on an Etch-a-sketch, when you shake it, the little beads make the aluminum bounce all over the place, and that actually adheres to the screen. So there's some static and some surface tension that happens on the inside of that where the aluminum actually sticks to the screen. So what you're seeing is actually a negative. It's actually a stylus on the inside scraping the aluminum away from the glass, and the black that you see on the screen is actually the inside of the box, the dark inside the box you're seeing. So it's a negative that you're actually seeing. Inside of an Etch-a-sketch, and this is exactly the same as his patent drawing, there are 10 pulleys, there are 6 cables, 2 crossbars, and 1 stylus. And the reason why it's so complex is when you turn the knob on the left, the knob on the left actually gives you the vertical movement, I believe.
I like that you actually have a diagram of all of this too. That's pretty cool.
It helps me. So when you turn the knob, it actually has to move 2 cables in the same direction. So they had to add extra pulleys to reverse the direction so that when you turn the left, it would actually move that crossbar this way, and then the right moves it up and down. And inside of that, that stylus is basically just this metal stylus that basically follows wherever those crossbars intersect. I don't know about you, but I never ever could draw a diagonal line on my Etch-a-sketch.
Yeah, I don't think you can.
If you do both at the same time, but it ends
really.
up being kind of like a stagger step. So, but I never knew it was inside of them. And actually, if you ever look at an Etch-a-sketch now, I'm not sure what the old ones were like. They make them so you can't open them. Like all of the what's inside of an Etch-a-sketch videos, there's no screws on the back.
Challenge accepted.
So there's tons of videos, people cut them open with Dremel tools and Sawzalls and smashing a glass. My theory is they probably don't want you inhaling powdered aluminum. A bunch of sissy kids again.
Back to the kids, yeah. Back in my day, we used to, well, never mind.
Used to huff powdered aluminum.
I wasn't going to say it, but I'm glad you went there.
Yeah, so you can't open them nowadays by default. You can obviously crack them open and do it, but I never knew. And the inside's pretty cool. If you get a chance, check out one of the videos. The way those 2 crossbars move the pulleys is actually pretty interesting.
I think I'll get a chance.
Yeah, I think I might crack one open myself.
You should.
But wear a respirator and gloves, because the aluminum goes everywhere.
Don't snort the powder.
No.
Okay.
Not good for you.
That's our after-school special warning for the episode.
The more you know.
The more you know.
Is that what it is? With the star?
Yeah. Okay. So with that, I think we're ending strong.
We are ending strong.
Anything else?
No. I think that we're going to need some more toys from our listeners.
Again, if you have some toys you want us to check out, email us at unprofessionalengineering@gmail.com. Do that after you subscribe and after you review us.
Yeah, or else we don't want you.
Right.
We have to do those 2 things.
Send you straight to junk.
And then,
Absolutely. All right. I think people are going to like this. They don't like to actually learn. They just want to hear about toys from the past.
But I think we did learn some stuff here. Like, I never knew how an Etch-a-sketch worked until I researched it.
And now you do.
I do.
You're a better man for it.
I hope I am.
All right. So with that, let's meet again next week.
I'll see you. Bye.